We got a trailer for a cozy Lord of the Rings game called Tales of the Shire. And I gotta say, I'm not impressed. I really want to like this game. I don't want it to suck, but it might suck. Tales of the Shire is a game about living the good life in the Shire. You can cook, forage, decorate, you know, the cozy mechanics, all while living in one of the most immersive, in-depth worlds that has ever existed. I was sold immediately when I heard about the game, and then I saw the trailer. You can love games or hate them. People are allowed to have varying opinions, especially on topics such as what video games they enjoy. Just because I don't think a game is going to be the best game ever, doesn't mean that you can't think the complete opposite. And that is completely okay. Okay, things I like about the trailer. This game looks incredibly cozy. The landscape, the atmosphere, it's a beautiful setting. The animals chilling in the meadow, the sunsets, they're just what you need for a relaxing game. You can fish, forge friendships with your fellow hobbit neighbors, farm, cook, everything you would expect from a farm sim, life sim. It even seems like you can invite said hobbit friends over from the Shire to your humble abode. You can decorate your hobbit hole with various furniture options to create your true cottagecore aesthetic. I'm assuming there will be more eventually, but cottagecore is all they showed. Grow your garden right in your own backyard, tending to it with a watering can that is the size of your character. This is a cute addition. They could have made the item the same ratio as a normal watering can to character size, but we're hobbits. We be tiny. Something like this really immerses the player into the world that Tolkien has created. The way the hobbits walk is super accurate, the atmosphere of the game is spot on. A lot was done right to this game to stay true to the world that we've all fallen in love with over the last numerous decades. But that's pretty much all it shows in the way of mechanics and activities. I don't really think this game looks good. It might be because the trailer is showing alpha footage, but everything could use just a little more detail. Not to crap all over the devs, but everything seems kind of half-baked. It's almost there. Looking at this trailer, the game kind of looks rushed. Maybe the developers had ideas or wanted to add more textures, more flora, just more of everything. The faces of the hobbits, they're rough. Especially the screen grab from the final celebration in the trailer. I don't know if this man's eyes are supposed to be a little uneven, but it seems like it really wasn't meant to look this way. And if it was, well, then in my opinion, it's kind of a bad design choice. I think his eyes are looking in separate directions on accident. This rock is literally a gray blob with like one tiny darker gray spot on it. I mean, rocks don't need a ton of texture, but they need to look like more than just default blender ball. This isn't what rocks look like. More time could have been spent making this place look just a little bit more immersive. It is the Shire. The world building is already done for you. All you have to do is just do it justice. Besides the way the game looks, the mechanics themselves seem pretty surface level. Again, this is alpha footage. Games vastly improved from alpha to release. Maybe the other mechanics just aren't ready to be shown, but you can tell some things just aren't finished. We don't even see the actual foraging animation as this hobbit walks up to the mushroom and is seemingly about to pick it. He just kind of goes up to it and then it just cuts. We never see the character actually performing the mechanic. So far, Tales of the Shire doesn't really feel like it's gonna do anything different than the cozy games that we already have. Other than building your own world in the Shire, which is a great idea, you need a bit more than that to keep people invested in the long run. We've seen games take this route of relying on the world you're in and not really expanding on the gameplay too much in Disney Dreamlight Valley. It's a very surface level game. I'm sorry, I know there's people that like it. I don't. I think there's a lot wrong with it, and that's okay. Again, we can disagree. That's fine. You can love it. I love that you love it. There's a nice story, but the physical acts of playing the game, leveling up, all of it is incredibly tedious with, like, practically no reward. This isn't the first time I've talked about my gripes of this game on my channel. It feels like Disney Dreamlight Valley's main idea was to tickle people's nostalgia for classic Disney characters and get them to spend money, which I don't think anyone can really disagree with that part. Throwing a cozy game into an already existing world is a great way to get people to download your game, but not a good way to keep them playing. Eventually, players fall off, and then there's barely anyone left to spend money on their premium shop items and support the game in the long term. There's evidence of the average active player base just declining over time. There's a site called Steam Charts that tells you the active number of players on a certain game on Steam. It's pretty reliable, except for the fact that it only tells you Steam analytics and not other platforms like Epic Games, Switch, PlayStation, Xbox. You get the idea. I'm gonna use these numbers for a second. When Disney Dreamlight Valley released on Steam, the number of active players peaked at over 14,000 people. The next month, that number immediately dropped 30%, and then the following month, it dropped another 45%. That's not good. And the player base doesn't really improve after that. There are some months where it gets a little better thanks to an update, but otherwise, DDV never gets anywhere close to its glory days. Ironically, the only day that Disney Dreamlight Valley majorly increased in Steam players was the day it came out on Switch. It's not even like the Switch version of the game just destroyed the player base. If anything, it livened it back up. But of course, this didn't last long. The awe of it all wore off quickly. I thought maybe this was just a cozy game issue. New Horizons had a similar problem with people leaving after a month or two. Normally, outside of cozy games, playing a single-player game for a whole month is plenty of time to finish the story and everything worth doing. It makes sense that that game will start to die eventually. But when you have a game that's seemingly endless, well, there's no end, which means there isn't a reason for people to stop playing the game at a certain point. You just have to kind of wait for them to get bored of it. Is it going to be in 100 hours? Is it going to be in 2,000 hours? Is it going to be 2024 and we're still playing New Horizons and villager hunting? I thought maybe this was a cozy game problem, but then I looked at Stardew Valley and it doesn't seem to have the same problem. It has a consistently high number of players that recently peaked with the new 1.6 update. So it's not a cozy game issue, I think it's just a bad game issue. I hope the problems I have with the trailer are because the devs are just rushed to put something out. Usually if a game is in alpha, one small section of the map or the world will be completely built up, so there's something pretty to show off in a video. I really want this game to be good. I want the developers to have the time to put their all into the game and not have it just join the many other games that inevitably end up in the cozy graveyard. We recently got a Valheim-like Lord of the Rings game last year that was incredibly fun to play. It's definitely in a different category than Tales of the Shire, but it really exceeded my expectations for what a Lord of the Rings game could be. My hopes were sky high when I heard that Tales of the Shire was coming out. As of now, Tales of the Shire is slated to release in the second half of 2024. So they have like 6 months to figure it out. God, I really hope this game doesn't suck. I really want it to be good. I want to live in the Shire. That would be so cool. Okay, this is like a month later, but we finally got a new trailer in the most recent Nintendo Direct for Tales of the Shire. And I gotta say, it looks way better than it did the first time around. Keep in mind, this is gameplay for the Switch, so naturally, it's gonna look a bit rough. I stand by the fact that Nintendo is literally the only company that can make Switch games look good. But the world looks way more built up. There's foliage everywhere, the food on the table looks amazing. It seems like the devs finally got a second to work their magic and make the world feel incredible. I'm very happy with this trailer. We even get a look at some trading UI. I don't know what trading is, but maybe we make stuff and trade it for other things. We'll find out. This new look at the game gives me so much more hope, and it really solidifies that the devs do know what they're doing, but they were most likely just forced to put something out for the original trailer. However, this small look into the world still isn't everything I want it to be. The one thing that's missing, mechanics. We see the hobbits walking around, conversing, and that's about it. We do get a quick look at a cooking cinematic. Who knows if this is more along the lines of The Sims, where the game just does all the cooking for you, or if we're going to get the paleo treatment where we can actually cook in like some kind of mini game. Either way, we've seen some major improvements in the short time between trailers. I don't want these workers to go in crunch mode before Tales of the Shire release date, coming up kind of soon. I'm way more hopeful that everything will work out. I'm hesitant to say it, but I think I'm officially excited about this game, and now I really don't want it to suck. What are your thoughts on the trailer? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!